Good evening. It's a near record breaker in the city today, with everyone doing whatever they can to stay cool and stay safe.
A heat warning remains in effect, and so does the city's response strategy for at least the next 2 days. CTV's John Musselman has been out in these sizzling conditions, speaking with people trying to beat the heat. John, how are you feeling at this hour?
Well, I'll tell you, Michelle, it is hot, but as you can see, there's a nice breeze here down at Sunnyside Beach, but still, people have really been trying to find ways to stay cool here because this is heat we haven't seen in a long time.
We knew it was coming, hot, hazy, and humid. Today was all about finding relief. A dip in Lake Ontario sure helped.
Too hot for me.
What's the lake like?
Lake, it's quite warm, thank you.
The waterfront was a popular spot today. A breeze off the lake made it seem much more bearable.
Yeah, there's some pockets of the breeze, and that's really nice, but overall it's really humid, and it feels like we're on vacation.
I'm visiting from Nova Scotia, and I always spend the days at the beach, and this is a good reason to come down here.
We had pretty good weather in Vancouver for the first part of the summer, and then it's been a little chilly for the past couple of weeks, so it's really nice to have a bit of a little bit of a summer vibe away from home.
Some city pools are offering extended hours tonight, including here at Sunnyside.
It's fine right now until it hits 37. I can handle this. But yeah, it's hot.
Toronto could see record-breaking temperatures. It also means an increased risk for heat-related illnesses, including heat stroke.
It can start off quite vague, things like a headache, feeling tired, a bit nauseous, even a bit dizzy. And then if it's more severe, people are actually going to not be thinking right. They might be confused.
The heat can also affect your transit commute. Officials at Metrolink sent out this advisory. Quote, during prolonged periods of high heat, we are required to run our trains at slower speeds to ensure the safety of our customers and crew. Slow orders are issued along the network. As a result, some trips may be canceled or delayed on your line or arriving later than originally scheduled at their destination. Still, there are plenty of people who refuse to complain about the heat. Remember this? January 25th, we were digging out after a massive snowstorm. It was a long winter.
This is what I'm telling people. Whenever you complain about something like this, remember how you were dying a few months ago, trying to protect yourself from all this cold and rain and whatnot.
Tomorrow we will get a bit of a break, but the temperatures will still be above 30 degrees Celsius.
So it will still be very hot for the next couple of days. If you're out, you got to remain hydrated, find shade, or do what many of the people at the beach here are doing. They're taking a nice swim in the lake to cool off. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back inside to you.
All right, always a good idea. Thank you, John. And sticking with the hot and humid weather, here's a live shot of the city there at Nathan Phillips Square. The watch party is over, but the heat is still here. Record breaker or not, it's the hottest day of the year so far, and we're not out of this heat wave just yet. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. It is a hot one, Lindsay.
It sure is, Nathan. And we're at that point in the season where often our hottest temperature comes in the evening hours, so we could still see the temperature go up in the city of Toronto. Right now it is 36 degrees at Pearson Airport. It feels like 43. Sometimes we say you can find a bit of relief by the water, but that's less the case today. 34 degrees on the Toronto Islands, and Queen's Park recording a temperature of 37 degrees late this afternoon. So is it a record breaker? The record to beat today, 36.8. We are very close to that. We could tie that record, we could surpass it, or we might stay slightly below. It's looking less likely that we are going to break this all-time temperature record at Pearson Airport of 38.3 degrees. Heat warning remains in effect for tonight, for tomorrow, and likely Thursday as well. We've got windy weather outside right now. Westerly winds could be gusting to near 50 kilometers per hour. Lots of sun out there, but also some haze, which we're going to talk about coming up. If you're heading out to a patio tonight, know that the temperature remains in the mid-30s through the mid-evening, and then overnight tonight, this is very warm for an overnight low, 26 degrees, feeling into the 30s. We'll give you an idea of when relief is finally coming with this heat wave. That's all ahead, but for now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, we are down to the final matches of the FIFA World Cup. Today, France and Spain faced off in the tournament's first semi-final game at Dallas Stadium.
But here in the city, it was more like the soccer fans versus the extreme heat. CTV's Raheem Ladani was taking in the match with fans at City Hall. Another hot one, Raheem.
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, I mean, it certainly was. And Nathan Phillips Square cleared out pretty quickly after the final whistle. But all things considered, the fact that we're in the middle of an extreme heat event and that the match was at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon, there was still a pretty decent crowd. There were several hundred people who came out here to watch the France versus Spain match. And what a match it was. I mean, Spain was able to unseat those French giants that so many thought were a shoo-in to make it to the World Cup final. And now Spain is going to their first World Cup final for the first time since 2010, where they won the entire tournament. And those Spanish fans who bared all of the elements to come out and watch their team, well, they certainly had a lot to cheer about. Tense moments right from kickoff. Hundreds of fans gathering in Nathan Phillips Square to watch the World Cup semifinal between powerhouses France and Spain.
It's looked tight so far. Don't really know who the clear favorite is.
Even France superstar Kylian Mbappe somehow made a cameo at Toronto's watch party.
2-1 is my prediction. They're going to win it.
Are you going to score?
Yes, I will. Hat-trick coming in soon.
With the scorching temperatures, many fans opted for shade over the perfect view, but others lathered up. And everyone watched as Spain had a chance to strike first.
Feeling good. We're going all the way. It's a great start. Love to see a goal on the board before the hydration.
Just like the players, fans too took hydration breaks, using this free mobile water trailer to grab a drink and fill up their water bottles.
It's a hot day today, so people are going to need water. I think it's a good idea.
It's incredible for the tourists.
The match is currently underway on the big screen, but a lot of fans are staying back here because of the hot temperatures. They're staying inside the mist machine, which has been set up by the city to try and stay cool.
It's very hot out here, so really feels good to be just refreshing under this.
But the excitement started well before kickoff, from camp kids playing on the pitch to French tourists visiting Toronto for the first time.
I went to the museum, Rome. It was great.
Nice city, big city, very, very clean.
For locals, Harry and Panit, they're using Toronto's World Cup experience to show off their own soccer skills and connect people through the sport.
So it's amazing to have all these fans, everyone around the world come here and enjoy the game. And I think it's a positive impact economically and, for everyone.
All right, so Spain is in, and now they await the winner of the next semifinal, England versus Argentina. That match, we know, goes tomorrow afternoon. Both have very passionate fan bases, and so we're expecting a pretty good turnout back here at Nathan Phillips Square tomorrow for that match, which kicks off at 4 p.m. And hopefully, Michelle, the elements will cooperate and be a little bit more manageable tomorrow. Reporting live, I'm Raheem Ladani. I'll send it back to you.
Maybe a little more manageable. Raheem, thank you. Now, the hot weather was an added factor for fire crews as they responded to a fire in the downtown core. The call came in earlier this afternoon from a home on Bathurst, north of Dundas. CTV's Sean Leithong has that story.
Quick work to save 2 lives as Toronto Fire arrived at a burning building this afternoon, pulling 2 people to safety.
2 adults were found hanging from second-floor windows, and they were rescued with ground ladders.
It was just after 12:30 when multiple calls came to respond to 386 Bathurst Street, where a fire had broken out on the 2nd floor of the residential building.
Fire started in a second-floor kitchen and involved most of the 2nd floor. Our first-in crews encountered high heat and heavy smoke conditions. They knocked the fire down with 2 hose lines within 10 minutes of arrival.
According to the building manager, only 2 people were at home at the time. One neighbor heard the commotion and came outside.
And then they carried this guy out from the room that was out. And they connected him to, what do they call, boosters, electrical machines. And then they gave him, pumped him full of air again and again and again, and he finally woke up.
According to Toronto Fire, a man and a woman were taken to hospital to be assessed for smoke inhalation and minor burns. A total of 13 people live in the building and are now displaced.
We are offering them shelter assistance with assistance from our partner agency at the Red Cross. If they do require shelter, we will assist them with that.
Bathurst was closed from Dundas to Nassau for the early afternoon. On such a hot day, fire crews had to be careful and monitor for heat exhaustion.
This is obviously a very hot and humid day. Our incident commander called additional resources to the scene in order to spot off our first firefighters that required rehab and fluids.
Toronto Fire says that an investigation will take place. Sean Leithong, CTV News.
Also tonight, under fire for $16,000 in hotel expenses despite living in the city. Tourism Minister Stan Cho's response to accusations he's living the sweet life on the taxpayers' dime.
One of the producers of the Salsa on St. Clair Festival says it will pull out of the event if city officials don't improve security. A statement from TLN Media Group reads in part, Saturday night's horrific shootings destroyed a joyous, safe, family-friendly celebration of Latino culture that has run annually since 2005. We are thankful for the quick and overwhelming response to the shootings by Toronto police. The statement goes on to say TLN will discontinue its involvement unless city officials provide concrete commitments to enhance policing and security around St. Clair Avenue. The statement also criticizes Deputy Chief Frank Burrito for what it says is normalizing such shootings. Now, here's what Burrito said to reporters hours after the shooting.
Toronto is one of the safest cities in the world. I'm sure the mayor would agree with me, and our councillors of the city would agree. But we are 3 million people, and unfortunately, we are not completely immune to some of the things that happen globally, quite frankly. But Toronto is an extremely safe city, and we're very blessed with the first responders that we have, the police, the fire, and the paramedics that handle this, and that plan this, and that deal with the aftermath of this. So while it's tragic and it's very concerning, we have very talented and trained people dealing with it right now.
Chief Myron Demke responded to the criticisms against the police response today.
We are always working with organizers, no matter the event, to ensure we provide the sense of safety and security and resources available to the event based on the information that's available and based on the footprint and all the other factors that are considered. And that's what we've done time and time again, weekend after weekend, this year, last year, and years before. And that's always a very active discussion right down to the day of the event. And we pivot and move resources. And we were resourced there. Police officers were there. And as you saw in the response, we had police officers able to respond quickly and secure a very large dynamic scene in relative short order.
Meanwhile, the Taste of the Danforth Street Festival is just weeks away. The Greek town on the Danforth BIA issued a statement that reads in part, violence in big and small cities where large numbers of people gather, such as schools, transit stations, and street festivals, can sadly happen. Eliminating the places where large groups gather to celebrate isn't an effective prevention strategy. The Taste of the Danforth will continue to be a celebration of community and has an extensive safety plan in place.
Toronto mayoral candidate Brad Bradford is also criticizing the response from City Hall to the shooting.
Right response from leadership is not to come out and cite statistics. The right response isn't to say this was a difficult weekend. The right response is to say no, no more. Not now, not ever. The right response is to say, as mayor, I will make whatever changes are necessary, whatever changes are required.
Bradford says if he's elected mayor, he'll sit on the Toronto Police Services Board.
Ontario's tourism minister is facing scrutiny over his housing expenses. Public records reveal taxpayers have been footing the bill for thousands of dollars in hotel stays for Stan Cho. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has more on the growing push for accountability.
Stan Cho has been called one of the rising stars of the provincial government. But now there are questions about the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Gaming's expenses.
The minister got caught with his hands in the cookie jar.
Since 2023, taxpayers have covered more than $16,000 worth of Toronto hotel stays filed by Cho. The thing is, his home is just 6 kilometers from the Ontario legislature. MPPs who live within 50 kilometers of Queen's Park aren't eligible to have the public pick up the tab for a hotel unless there's an emergency like a snowstorm.
Now, I'd like to know why Doug Ford's ministers think it is acceptable to live the sweet life on the taxpayer dime while Ontarians every day right now are struggling just to afford the basics.
Cho's office said they couldn't accommodate an interview, but the minister shared a statement writing, While these expenses meet the criteria for special circumstances, I will be personally reimbursing the legislature for the entire amount of the expenses incurred. The minister hasn't explained the reason for these hotel stays or why they were initially billed to taxpayers. That's leaving opposition leaders to come up with their own theories.
Because he felt entitled to them, right? Entitled to them, just like his boss felt entitled to the luxury private jet, right? And the MO with this government is, let's see what we can get away with.
The Ford government called Deb Hutton for a refresher on conflict of interest after the Greenbelt scandal. Now she says the Premier needs to make sure his MPPs understand what's acceptable to expense, something she thinks has slipped.
We're past the point where just adhering to what the actual policy is really smart. You need to actually respect tax dollars, and I think in this case, Stan Cho didn't.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
To a CTV News investigation now into what happens when a police officer lies on the stand in court. As CTV's John Woodward reports, there may be troubling gaps in a system that is supposed to report dishonest cops.
This is surveillance video in a parkade in London, Ontario. That's a Toronto man on the ground getting arrested. And there, a police officer kicks him in the face, something a judge found the officer lied about in testimony.
It's surprising because it's an easy lie to catch if the officer is saying one thing, but the objective video evidence is showing another.
Dishonesty by police on the stand happens occasionally. A report by Western University earlier this year identified since 2015 11 cases where officers from the Toronto Police Service and Peel Regional Police lied or provided false testimony. In high-profile cases, police forces often take action directly, like in this case from 2015, where a judge found a Peel officer stole a Tony Montana statue from a storage locker during a search and lied about it. Not all cases make the news. Prosecutors have an obligation to flag an officer to their own police service if a trial crown becomes aware of credible and reliable information that an officer has been deliberately untruthful under oath. An FOI by CTV News shows that's happened 28 times in the last decade. But those cases identified in the Western report weren't on the list, a sign that there are gaps in the system, says NDP MPP Jenny Stevens.
An overwhelming majority of police officers serve with integrity. So I want to be very clear, you know, honesty in the justice system is a non-negotiable.
A spokesperson for Ontario's Attorney General said our list may not capture some types of cases, but stressed it is fundamental to the administration of justice that police officers' statements made under oath are truthful. When confronted with the dishonesty at court over this incident in London, the judge's reaction was to toss the charges. John Woodward, CTV News.
Still ahead, renewed strikes in the Middle East renews pain at the pumps as the price of oil rises, the energy crunch, and the unstable road ahead.
Police are searching for suspects following a shooting in Scarborough. Officers called to the Blackwell Avenue and Tapscott Road area just after 2:30 this morning. A short time later, a man showed up at a hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say his injuries are not life-threatening. Investigators have not provided details on possible suspects. They're asking anyone with information to come forward.
And police have released an image of a vehicle wanted in connection with a hit and run in Milton last month. They're searching for the driver of this gray Toyota Tacoma pickup. Now, on June 24th, a motorcycle was in the intersection of Regional Road 25 and Etheridge Avenue and hit the truck making a left turn. Now, police say the driver did not stop immediately and then sped away from the scene. The rider of the motorcycle suffered serious injuries. Police are asking anyone with information to contact them.
York Regional Police have charged a suspect in connection with a series of hate-motivated assaults in Markham. 27-year-old Fardin Sajid is facing 4 counts of assault, mischief under $5,000, and 8 counts of breach of probation. On several occasions between June 9th and July 2nd, Sajid is accused of approaching victims, making racial comments, assaulting them, and then running away. Police believe there may be more victims, and they're urging anyone with information to reach out.
Toronto police celebrated Caribbean Carnival at an event in Etobicoke today. Members of the policing community gathered at the Elm Bank Community Center. Police have been taking in Carnival since 1991 and used today's event to highlight the significance of the celebration.
This festival welcomes everyone and highlights the diversity, inclusivity, and cultural richness that defines our city. Year after year, the festival shows why Toronto is recognized around the world as one of the most multicultural and welcoming cities anywhere.
Lasting partnerships are built by listening to one another, working together, and creating opportunities where every voice matters. Through collaboration with community organizations, residents, youth, and the Toronto Police Services, we continue to build safer, stronger, and more inclusive communities for everyone.
The Junior Carnival Parade is set for this Saturday in Scarborough. The Grand Parade will take over Lakeshore August 1st.
Bonnie Crombie has officially entered the race to become Mississauga's next mayor. Crombie served as the city's mayor from 2014 to 2024 before stepping down to become leader of the Ontario Liberal Party. The party regained official status during the 2025 provincial election, but Crombie did not win a seat. Following a weak leadership review in September, she formally stepped down earlier this year.
Yes, I left to fight for Mississauga at Queen's Park. And I lost. But what I learned is that everything I care about is right here. So today I'm asking for this job to be mayor of Mississauga, and I'm staying, and I will see it through. This is the job that I chose over any other, and I'm going to complete it, and I have something to prove.
There are currently 8 candidates running to become Mississauga's next mayor. They include current mayor Carolyn Parrish, as well as councillors Alvin Tejo and Deepika Damerla. Parrish defended her record after being questioned by Crombie.
Taxes have been going up, heavy increase in police presence, which the citizens of our city want. So we're learning to cope with that. We're also making some arrangements with the Premier to change the balance of 62-38% on paying those bills. So the police bills will be paid. We're very happy to have Nish there. As far as housing's concerned, we're about to get a huge grant from the province because we are the champions in Ontario for changing development charges and encouraging development. So we've got 18,000 units under construction or in the process and are getting great accolades for everything we've done. I convened a housing roundtable exactly 1 week after I was sworn in. So I have been working my tail off, if you have to know.
I think residents can't afford more of the same. I think they have seen over the last 4 years, whether it was Bonnie Crombie or Carolyn Parrish, property taxes have gone up 30% in the last 4 years, and life is becoming increasingly more unaffordable. I think now that the former mayor is back running against the existing mayor, we have more options if we want more of the same. So I think people are looking for change, and I think that's what we're presenting to them.
We are two very different leaders, two very different people, and yes, I work with every mayor. That's what my job is as a councillor. But I believe that, as I've said, under the past 4 years, we've seen property taxes go up under both mayors. We have seen city services decline under both mayors, and I'm hearing that at the door, and I'm running to fix that.
Voters in Mississauga will head to the polls October 26th.
Toronto police are asking for your help finding a missing 15-year-old girl. Today, her parents pleaded for their daughter's safe return.
I hope that she sees this and knows that she is very much loved and missed, and we are really concerned about her safety. And please, okay, if you're watching this and hearing this, please find a police and let them know that you're missing and that you want to go home. We're all waiting for you to come home.
I want Rukaya to know that we love her and miss her deeply. We want her back home. We want her safe. We want her back home. If anyone has seen anything, please come forward, share information with the police, and help us bring our daughter back home.
Rakea was last seen Saturday night at 11:30 in the Markham and Shepherd area. Police are concerned for her safety. She's 5'4" with a thin build and shoulder-length black hair. Police are asking people to check their cameras and be on the lookout for the missing teen. Residents of several regions in northwestern Ontario have been ordered to flee their homes because of nearby wildfires. The OPP posted a list of the areas that are affected by the evacuation order and say people in 3 other regions should prepare in case they also have to flee. Now, officials are urging evacuees to head south to Thunder Bay. There are 128 fires in the northwest region right now. 53 of them are out of control. 29 active blazes are also burning in the northeast. Much of northern Ontario is under a severe heat warning.
Almost exactly a year ago, Prime Minister Mark Carney convened a meeting with First Nations.
He promised to consult Indigenous communities on major projects, but many chiefs are still waiting to see what that consultation looks like. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the story.
Projects built with Indigenous partners.
That was Prime Minister Mark Carney this time last summer, vowing full Indigenous cooperation and participation would be key to getting major projects built. But since then, few nation-building initiatives have advanced. And so the government is preparing further legislation to speed up project approvals. And that is sparking fresh concerns for First Nations.
The federal government can try and set up all the timelines that they want for project approvals, but they can't put a deadline on First Nations rights, and you have rights.
First Nations representatives are gathered in Ottawa this week for the AFN annual general meeting. And Carney's plans to expedite impact assessments for energy and infrastructure developments has taken center stage.
There is more dialogue needed before we agree to any process. We're not going to allow anything to happen without us being involved directly.
Those CTV News spoke with said they still feel left out of the conversation or are lacking the information needed to offer informed consent.
We see Prime Minister Carney all over the country and all over the world talking about our lands and our resources, but yet we have not seen them on the ground to engage us in any sort of fashion, and that needs to happen quickly.
Do the right thing. Do it honestly. We'll move a faster ahead, right?
First Nations leadership will also be discussing child welfare, housing, and calls for the Vatican to rescind a series of papal decrees. They will also hear from a slate of federal cabinet ministers. Mark Carney is not scheduled to speak, though he will be convening a meeting of First Nations chiefs in October. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Stats Canada says the number of Canadians traveling to the U.S. remains well below levels seen in June of 2024. The agency released preliminary figures showing the number of Canadians making return trips from the U.S. was up for a third straight month in June, rising 3.2% to 1.7 million. Stats Can says the rise was driven by a 5.2% boost in the number of car visits south of the border. Return trips by air fell 3.8%. The numbers represent a 29% drop compared to 2 years ago. With tensions rising again in the Middle East, we'd expect another rise in prices at the pumps.
CTV senior correspondent Adrian Gobriel looks into who will feel it most.
The painful process of pulling up to the pumps is set to get even pricier.
Every time I hear the news is going up, it's a scary thing, man.
Gas prices are ticking upwards at midnight, anywhere from 5 to 10 cents per liter, depending on where you're located in the country.
We are seeing the effect of a shortage, of scarcity, of an energy crunch.
This is the average predicted price for regular gas in cities across Canada as of tomorrow, with one of the highest expected averages to be found in Vancouver at 198.9. One of the cheapest averages will be located in Edmonton at 165.
The world is quickly running out of oil, available oil to meet demand.
The price for Brent crude today hovered around $85 per barrel. The price this time last year was $66.84 per barrel. Stateside inflation in the United States cooled last month in part because of a dip in gas prices. While the renewed strikes on key assets by both the U.S. and Iran in the Gulf has been a driving factor behind the rise in oil prices for a second consecutive day.
It's frustrating. It's a little bit scary, you know, because I got a kid that I got to feed as well.
I still need to drive, so it's going to feel, yeah.
The road ahead for budget-conscious consumers and drivers remains both turbulent and unpredictable.
An additional heads up for those families who are planning to load up their cars and head out for a summer road trip this weekend. Gas prices are expected to continue to increase later this week. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
A deadly shooting at a traffic stop in Maine involving immigration enforcement agents has resulted in a major change in approach. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbon looks at the deepening concern over ICE tactics in America.
After a wave of fatal shootings by ICE agents, the Trump administration is putting a halt on these dramatic vehicle stops. It's a major policy shift after this recent incident. This footage shows a white car driving in a circle. It's unclear if this was before or after shots were fired at a traffic stop in Biddeford, Maine. ICE agents say they were targeting someone for removal as they pull what appears to be a limp body from the car, handcuffing his hands, the windshield covered with bullet holes.
He put him on the ground, and I heard the young man say, "I tried to stop." Clearly heard him say that.
Turns out the man fatally shot was not the target. Johann Sebastian Guerrero was a 26-year-old Colombian man authorized to work in the U.S., according to officials.
ICE doesn't want to admit what a botched operation that this was a wrongly targeted person, but somebody who was just going to work, and their death was witnessed by a 3-year-old child.
From protests in Maine.
I don't know what he did, but he didn't deserve to be executed in the street.
To anger in Houston, Texas, where another family is in mourning. Lorenzo Salgado Araujo shot and killed by ICE agents last week. He, too, was the wrong target, and in both cases, ICE agents were not wearing body cameras. Civil rights organizations have filed lawsuits against aggressive tactics by ICE, an agency under pressure to deliver President Trump's promise of mass deportations. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
July 14th is France's biggest holiday, and the marquee event of the day was used to show Russia and the U.S. that Europe is united and stepping up to defend itself. A massive Bastille Day parade in Paris showcased support for Ukraine and symbolically flexed European military muscle. The event included troops and warplanes from across the continent and from Ukraine, which received the biggest cheers of the day as the Ukrainian president looked on.
A new crew has arrived at the International Space Station to begin an 8-month mission.
Booster ignition now at full throttle and liftoff.
The 3 astronauts launched from Kazakhstan shortly before 11 o'clock this morning. About 3 hours later, they arrived at the orbiting outpost, docking smoothly in automatic mode. They're joining 7 crew members already at the station.
And I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, more people are getting scammed after watching fake AI-generated videos. A new one with Prime Minister Mark Carney promises investors can make money fast, but it's all fake. Another victim just lost more than $80,000. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, earlier in the newscast, we talked about wildfires burning in northwestern Ontario. Now there are air quality warnings across central and parts of southern Ontario. Even here in Toronto, we expect deteriorating air quality over the next day or so, and drifting smoke will continue to be part of our weather story over the next 48 hours as well. Coming up, we're going to talk about this heat, whether or not we broke a record, and just how long it's going to be sticking around. Stay with us. CTV News. We'll be right back.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
AI is making it much harder to know online which videos are real, which ones are fake, which is why you have to be careful where you get your information.
Videos on social media often promise ways to get rich quick with no risk, but most are scams designed to steal your money. Here's Pat Foran and Consumer Alert. Pat.
Thanks, Nathan and Michelle. The scam videos can be found on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and other platforms. Sometimes they're only there for a day or two and then they disappear. They claim you can make easy money, but in the end, victims lose everything they invest.
Imagine receiving $35,000 every month without hard work, without risk, without wasting time.
This is the latest deepfake video going around online with Prime Minister Mark Carney. Well, it appears he's pitching an investment platform in the House of Commons. Criminals have used AI to create this fake video to scam Canadians.
2 months ago, I deposited just $350 into my account. Today, my balance is $70,000.
It looked exactly like Mark Carney. It was Mark Carney.
Deborah Friesen of Acton says last year she was watching craft videos online when an ad popped up that appeared to be the Prime Minister speaking about an investment opportunity.
He said, I'm really trying to help out my Canadian people by helping them to make extra money on this trading platform.
Friesen was scammed out of $13,000. Later, she was contacted again by someone who called her every day for months. She took another chance and was scammed out of $70,000.
And then he disappeared. I fell apart. I couldn't stop crying.
It's so frustrating, so devastating.
Judy Skeen saw a fake Mark Carney video on Facebook. She invested and was scammed out of $900,000.
All my money was gone.
Do not ever invest on anything or in any situation that arises out of social media.
Cybersecurity experts recommend reaching out to people you trust before making any investment decisions or large purchases.
Make sure that in your family you have 1, 2, or 3 people that you have on speed dial and you can call them immediately.
Be very cautious with any video seeking your money, and know with AI, creating deep fakes is getting easier and they're becoming more realistic.
And we did hear from Evan Solomon's office today, the Minister of AI. We were told advances are being made to combat fraud and that online platforms should be doing more to prevent these scams and limit their spread. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
Combating fraud and having to beat the heat today. Hottest day of the week. There's the heat, there's the humidity, lots of sunshine, and there is more to come. I feel like if we're a few degrees lower, maybe it'll feel a bit better.
Better, yeah. I mean, this hottest day of the year and close to an all-time record. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so we were keeping an eye on the all-time record at Pearson Airport, 38.3 degrees. It was looking possible that we could tie that, exceed it. In the end, it looks as though we're going to fall short of that all-time record, which it brings me some comfort, actually, because that would have been a little concerning if it was our hottest day ever at Pearson Airport. However, it's still looking likely that we could break the daily temperature record. We'll wait until the official numbers are finished, but it appears as though conditions are starting to cool slightly at this hour. Let me show you outside. Earlier today, we had sunshine, we had heat, we had humidity, and so no surprise, the beach was a popular place to be. A reminder, if you don't have air conditioning in your home, there are various places that you can go to take a break, find some cooler air, and a reminder over the next couple of days here, because we're finished with the hottest day, the peak of the heat, but we are not in the clear when it comes to this heat wave quite yet. So here's a couple of reminders of things you can do to help take care of yourself. Of course, stay hydrated, maybe take a cool shower if you're able to do that, and wear loose, light-colored clothing. That's going to help also. Heat warning in place, likely to stay in place through the day on Thursday. Temperature-wise, we have dropped a degree. We're at 35 degrees right now at Pearson Airport, and it feels like 42. It was the hottest day of the year so far. Believe it or not, we topped Canada Day by a few decimal points anyway. Toronto downtown, the hotspot of not just the province, but the entire country today at 37.3 degrees. That is more than 10 degrees above normal. And yes, again, we're keeping an eye on that record at Pearson Airport for the rest of the day today. 26 degrees. That's our forecast low for tonight. That rivals our average daytime high, so very uncomfortable for sleeping. Tomorrow, once again, there's going to be a watch party happening at FIFA Fan Fest, much like today. Same applies. Protect yourself from the sun's rays and stay hydrated throughout the day if you're going to be venturing out. Overall temperatures tomorrow, slightly cooler than today, but I don't want to call it cool because we're still in the 30s. We're still feeling close to 40 in many areas. There is a slight chance of a shower tomorrow, so that's a bit of a change. And we are dealing with some hazy conditions. It's not so much appearing on the satellite and radar, but it is there. If you look up at the sun, you'll notice a bit of a veil over the sky. We do see a bit of an increase in cloud cover tomorrow, in addition to more wildfire smoke moving in. And as mentioned, slight chance of a shower, maybe some thunderstorm activity later tonight in eastern Ontario. Ontario. There's tomorrow. Thursday, mix of sun and cloud. And then Friday, we're back into more wall-to-wall sunshine. And finally, it is going to be a little bit cooler. So we go from 30 degrees on Thursday to about 28 for a high on Friday. Those temperatures, those highs in the upper 20s as opposed to 30s, follow us into the weekend. We're going to watch Friday night and Saturday for a chance of showers. And then Tuesday of next week, we have a risk of some thunderstorms. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, bringing camp to kids at SickKids. A summertime staple is reimagined at hospitals across the province, providing kids with serious illness the overnight experience.
Going to camp is the highlight of many kids' summers, but if you can't go to camp, sometimes camp can come to you.
Our health reporter Pauline Chan visited Camp Week at SickKids Hospital.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Good?
A happy greeting for 9-year-old Kirsten and her 7-year-old brother Curtis before they settle down to create a fishing game.
It gives them like the opportunity to be out in their room, most especially to do kid stuff.
Campfire Circle provides play-based programs to kids with cancer or serious illness through our in-hospital programs across the province, as well as at our 2 overnight sites that are both medically supported.
And while camp may usually be a summer event, Campfire Circle provides 3 to 4 camps a year at SickKids. What do they do?
I mean, slime is always a hit, but I definitely love the kids when they make zip lines where they make little characters and then they're doing zip lines down the hall. We've got, camp sing-alongs, lots of fun like that.
Today, Kirsten is busy coloring fish. I went fishing once. I almost got a big fish, but I was too scared, so I let go of it. Kirsten was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma last December and has been coming to SickKids Hospital for 14 rounds of chemo.
Being able to be kids while doing the treatment that she needed helped her, get through the day without being scared to be in the hospital.
Campfire Circle hospital programs are free to families, as are their overnight camps in Mississauga and Rainbow Lake. In fact, the Cononegos will be going to family camp in a few days. A chance to have fun and make friends, all in a medically safe environment. Got it. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
After the break, demand outpaces supply in several regions, but housing prices in Toronto are expected to dip. The market outlook next. Royal LePage is raising its national housing price forecast for this year as demand continues to outpace supply in some regions. The company expects the aggregate price of a home to increase by 2% in the fourth quarter to $823,300. Quebec City is expected to see the largest year-over-year price growth at 8%, while prices in Toronto are expected to fall 2% compared to last year.
Detached home sales are rising across Canada's largest markets this year, including in the GTA. That's according to a new report from RE/MAX. It says communities in Toronto's 416 area code posted solid growth, with 60% reporting an increase in detached home buying activity. Overall, the report says detached inventory levels are dwindling, which could place upward pressure on home prices going forward.
The Toronto Tempo are back home tonight after 2 games in Montreal.
It's now 55 seconds left in the fourth. Downhill, Salvary, and the Tempo have the lead.
The expansion team got back into the win column with a victory over New York Sunday. Now tonight, Toronto welcomes the Washington Mystics to town. The Tempo are 2 games behind the Mystics for the 8th and final playoff spot.
To baseball, and the 96th edition of MLB's Midsummer Classic will be played tonight. The American League takes on the National League in the 2026 All-Star Game in Philadelphia. Toronto Blue Jays ace Dylan Cease gets the start for the AL. Teammate Ernie Clement will bat 9th. Jays reliever Louis Varland also made the squad. Just ahead, it pays to be prehistoric. The big T-Rex that went up for auction sold, surpassing estimates and setting a new auction record for a dinosaur fossil. We'll tell you how much it fetched and who bought it.
Finally, an update on a story we told you about last night.
A skeleton of one of the largest T-Rexes ever found sold at auction today, and it went for a gargantuan price. This is now the most expensive fossil ever sold at auction. Nicknamed Gus, it fetched the equivalent of more than $70 million Canadian at Sotheby's in New York. The 11.5-meter long Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton is about 67 million years old. The auction house says it is one of the most complete T-Rex fossils ever found. The winning bid was placed over the phone by an anonymous buyer.
And where are they going to put that?
You wonder, too, do you tell your family, hey, I bought a T-Rex today?
Stick it in the basement, I guess.
Come clean. We want to know who bought it.
I don't think there's a return policy on that one either.
All right, bring us up to speed on the heat. Are we getting relief tonight?
Not so much tonight. And in fact, there's something new. Environment Canada just recently adding the city of Toronto to the air quality warning. So here's what that looks like. It's hot, it's humid, and it is going to be hazy tonight and into the day tomorrow. Here's one more look at the temperature. It is still 35 degrees out there tomorrow. A little better. 33 degrees will feel like 41. But this hot stretch is set to continue. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us. But be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Allman with your next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.